Hey, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Travis, and I just took a $3,500 gamble on this Marketplace 12-valve Cummins. It's a 1995. I'm in this alleyway because the gentleman didn't want me filming on his property or anything like that, which is totally cool. So we have it on the trailer already, and it does not run. Let me show you real quick. Gosh. Okay. So here it is, the good old 12 valve. He's got it covered because he's got the injection pump like literally unbolted. You can see these bolts right here because the tapet cover was leaking. It's the cover that covers the push rods, and it was leaking real bad. So he was gonna fix that, and he unbolted the pump. It's literally ready to come off. The injection pump gear nut is popped off, everything. It's like, it's off. But I guess he had health problems and he couldn't finish the job. So it's been sitting non-running for like 3 years. Ow, hit my head on the hood. And I just bought it. We're gonna see if we can put it back on the road again. Doesn't look terribly bad. We're missing our little black handle right here. It's got 300,000 miles on it. Let's see if I can get up here. It's got a little over 300,000 on the clock. Interior's pretty dirty. If we clean it up, it'll look a lot better. We only have one little tear right here. The dash is in pretty decent shape. These are always beat up and cracked. It's got one crack in it, he said. I got our hubcaps, and all the bolts and everything he took off to take the injection pump off is in there. So I'm hoping that we can fix the tappet cover leak, put the injection pump on, and everything works, right? It's a gamble because you never know when you get into things. The engine could be blown. The engine could be locked up. I don't know. The injection pump might not work. You know, diesels are very particular. So let's get this thing on the road and home and see if we can fix it. We got a water heater out here in the alley. Yeah, these are really tight. Got various trash, more bags of trash. Just hoping I don't hit one of these telephone poles or a wall. I think that's the main road right there. All right, we're back on the main road. We got about a 2 hour or 100 and some odd mile drive back to Tucson, and we'll get it unloaded. So I got the old Cummins under the shop now, under less stressful and loud environments. I was trying to get out of Phoenix and it was hot, daytime, all that good business. So let's pop the hood and take this cover off because he covered it, you know, to keep dust and stuff off of it, which was smart. But we're gonna have to take this all off and blow some of this off and see what we're working with and how far he got apart and gauge where we're at. There's something that I wanted to mention real quick. I have merch designed. The merch is not available yet, but I wanted to tell you guys because it's still in the works. So I have a logo and 3 t-shirt designs. Because I have to physically place the orders for shirts, I can't offer everything in every color and every style of shirt. 2 of the t-shirt designs are going to be on shirts like this. They're breathable, they're light, and I've grown to really like these kind of shirts. It's all I wear. And I wanted to put merch on a shirt that I would wear. All 3 t-shirt designs are going to have one small breast logo right here. That's the TB with no writing on it. Cummins Dependable Diesel and the 46 International that says The Travis B are going to be on the back of these type of shirts. The TB logo on the back that says The Travis B with the pinstriping, that is going to be like the mechanic work shirt button up. Uniform shirt, I guess we could call it. Yeah, I guess that's a better word for it, a uniform shirt. When I get the order placed and the shirts actually become available and I get like the little website doodly-doo up, I will let you guys know. Which one do you guys like the best? Anyway, back to the video. This rag, I can use that for something. I can tell he's got some of the injection lines loose under here, like he'd taken them off and then put them on and screwed them on just to keep them on there. We're gonna have to take this intake horn off. These are the grid heater nuts. So when he was taking this apart, I don't know if he didn't know you could take all these off as a unit or what, but I don't want to mix and match these up and get them all out of whack. So he took all the covers off of them. See how it's clean right there? There's a clamp that basically keeps them all in line. Right here, there's one missing here. This one is still on, and then I think there's a couple that clamp these together. So I'm going to put those on and then take all this off as one unit. Boom, see? One foul swoop. And this is the wastegate exhaust for the turbo. They didn't have wastegates on the first gens. They did a lot of upgrades from first to second gen. They had a bigger turbo. They did add a wastegate. Of course, the P7100 injection pump, legendary in all its respects. Yeah, I like it, man. I like this truck. I hope it's not blown up or locked up. I don't even know. Did I check the oil? It's low, but it's got oil. So luckily he did save all the stuff like he said he did. The fuel return, bolt and nut, the fuel supply, all that. I'm just putting it back on real quick so I can blow this off. There's like bag material all over the place. These P7100 injection pumps are pretty industrial. Some of the most well-made mechanical pumps actually in the world. This is actually the return line. So after a certain pressure, there's a valve in here. It's spring-loaded. It opens up and lets fuel go back to the tank. This is your boost reference line. Reads boost manifold pressure from whatever, your turbo and all that, and sends it. He's got it unplugged, I'm guessing. But it goes right here, and depending on how much boost you have, there's a diaphragm in here that it moves back and forth and moves the rack of your injection pump. Then this is the fuel feed line right here. This is the fuel feed coming from your fuel filter right there, and then behind it, which he already has unplugged, that is an oil feed supply line. These injection pumps actually take engine oil pressure from the engine, and they have oil that circulates in them and comes out, I think, the front to go back down into the oil pan. So they're pretty industrial, actually. Very, very overkill for what they had these engines doing originally in these trucks. That's why you can make so much horsepower with them. You'll see when I take it out how big it is. I mean, it's giant. But although he's got this to where it can move back and forth, you actually can't take it out without taking that fuel filter housing off. There's two bolts right here that hold it to the intake, and there's a couple of fuel lines right there. Got to take those off, take the fuel filter housing off, because you got to get the pump back far enough to clear the timing cover housing, because there's a shaft that comes out of the injection pump into here, so you got to move it back quite a ways. Okay, I know it's behind everything. It's hard to see it, but here it is. It smells old. It doesn't smell like 3-year-old diesel. It doesn't look like it either. See how it's orange? Stuff looks pretty old. Now here's the hard part. Getting this big pig out of here. I think they weigh 44 pounds, which doesn't seem like an awful lot, but when you're bent over a fender trying to get this thing out with 2 pinky fingers, it's a lot of weight. So, oh, did he? Okay, so he did unbolt the bottom brackets. It's all done. Let's see if we can do this. Here, we'll slide her back. Get out of the way. Okay, here we go. Jeez. Well, I think I can see the issue here. So you can see this is your tappet cover, and then here's the gasket that goes around it. See how it's lipped around it? And then right here, it's not even on it. I mean, it's so pliable that you probably don't even need a new gasket, but I got one anyway, so I'll put it on. But yeah, there's your leak. He said it was leaking profusely, and I would say having literally no gasket there is a big leak. So I've actually never done one of these tappet covers before. First time for everything. So there is a fuel line right here on this fuel lift pump. It has to come off because it's right in our way of the tappet cover. Well, gosh dang it, the friggin' whole fitting came loose. We're gonna have to take off this oil feed line too, it's in our way. Got to take the fuel pump and the fuel heater off too. It's not going to come out. There we go. I ended up having to take the starter off too to get this off because of this crankcase ventilation tube goes in between the block and the starter, and it's like a plastic. It's really thick. You can't pull it up out of the starter cavity, you know, in between there. So I monkey snotted it, or well, it's this weather strip. It's adhesive. I put this on there because the bottom, obviously, on this other gasket was off, so I don't want it to pooch out and come off and come down and have the same issue. I'll put a dab around the top too. See how easy that comes off? I don't want it to accidentally come off of there. Just a little bit, not a ton. There we go. I got everything put on that you can put on before you put the injection pump on. I have the tappet cover on with the new gasket. I put the oil feed line back on. The fuel lift pump and the fuel heater are back on with the line that comes up and goes to the fuel filter housing. And I was gearing up to put the injection pump on, but I found a problem which really sucks. Remember how I was telling you earlier, this is the fuel return line that goes on the back of the injection pump right here. And here's where it is on the pump. Here's where the fuel feed comes in, and here's where the fuel return is. Well, this is a very, very specialized banjo bolt. So this banjo bolt is actually made to hold pressure. So in between the inlet and the outlet, it's supposed to have, say, 20 or 25 pounds of fuel pressure all the time. And the way it manages that is through this banjo bolt right here. And there's a bolt on here because inside the banjo bolt there is supposed to be a spring and a ball right here that rides on a surface. And this goes against that spring to press against the ball to hold pressure all the time. And when the pressure overcomes the spring tension, the ball raises up and lets fuel go through these holes back to the tank. But the problem is there is nothing in the bolt. Now, I thought I got lucky, and I did find the spring in the box of stuff he has, but there's no ball. The ball is missing. You cannot run it without that because there's no way to regulate the fuel pressure. All the fuel that comes in here is just going to be going right back out here and back to the tank. This has to have fuel pressure in order to operate, or else you're going to get a really, really low, weak idle, or it won't run at all. So without that check ball in there holding fuel in, it's not going to run. So I ordered another overflow valve for that other side, which totally puts a wrench in my plans for today because I was going to try and set this on. But another thing we can do is set the timing or make sure the timing is correct. So with these engines, the engine has to be at top dead center, and then the injection pump has to be at its respective time. So just like a distributor on a car, the timing is not in the engine, the timing is in the injection pump. So at top dead center, this injection pump should be advanced whatever degree it says from the factory. So how you make sure the injection pump is in time is you take this off, which actually this was already loose, so he already was wise to this. And there's a tool in here, if hopefully it's in there. Okay, it is in there. And this is your timing tool. Don't want to lose this. So you pull this out. Now if he put the engine at top dead center, then you should see a little bar sticking out in there, which I do not see. Okay, you can see it coming around now. See that? That's what I'm talking about. See that? See how it went in? So the pump is lock timed. So since we know the pump was not timed, we know the engine is probably not at top dead center. So we have to make sure it's at top dead center, and I guess there's ways to do it. Cummins luckily makes a tool on the engine where you can determine where top dead center is, and that tool is down here. So here's the injection pump gear, and then there's this little plastic pin like that that goes in to a little pinhole that's on the gear. But we don't know if this is slipping just onto the gear or in that pinhole. So I'm going to take this out. See that dowel pin? It goes in a little pinhole on that gear. So I got to get a mirror. Oh, I think I can feel it. You see in that hole? See that little dowel pinhole? So the engine is close, if not at top dead center, which is good. So our pump was out of time, which would have been a problem if we put it on and just cranked it. So you have to make sure that everything is in time. So I was about to turn this engine over to see where top dead center was. I know we're close, but I want to make sure we're on it. And I was pulling a little bit, but I was like, all right, let me see if he's got a barring tool in there. And You see that 1/2-inch socket head down there? He's got a barring tool in the flywheel, so good thing we caught that so that we don't ever crank the engine with that in there. And I think you can turn the flywheel with that barring tool in there, so good thing I saw that. So I placed the order for the overflow valve. We can't do anything else with the injection pump, so I made sure to time the pump, time the engine. We're good there. We can put the pump on once we get the valve. So in between now and then, we'll clean this mess of a bed out because it's full of stuff. And you can already tell this camper shell is the wrong size, and there's a bunch of stuff in here I just got to throw away. The shell overshoots the bed right here, and it kind of goes in, so you can see more and more black as you get closer to the front. It gets too skinny, so it's not really the right size. The bed tailgate doesn't want to open right, but yeah, we got some wood here. We got a ceiling fan. He did give me a good door. I did take that. We got a factory rim. Yeah, we got a factory rim because on one of these, yeah, this is the spare tire, so we can put a factory rim back on it. I think he said there was a bumper in here, and here's a hitch, and well, that's a tore up tire. Oh, there's a bumper. Yeah, I see it. All right, let's get some of this out, see what we have. Oh, these shocks are toast. Yeah, crash. Okay, I want out of my fucking face. That's what they used. Like you see in them movies?
Yeah.
They're fanning the king. Feeding you grapes. Okay, let's get out of here.
I think this truck's been parked for about 10 years.
Yeah.
Because the last sticker was from 16, the last registration. So, it's been sitting a little bit longer than.
Well, it's clean. We'll definitely be saving these hubcaps because these are in good shape and they make the truck look a lot better. I'm gonna put everything on the roof. I'm gonna keep. This is, I think, the factory truck style gas neck. So what's on there isn't connected to the bed because this had a utility bed, which is what he told me. So he took the utility bed off and put a factory bed on it. So the gas neck does not meet up with the bed. It meets up for a utility bed. So we're gonna be switching it to this, I think. This is a 7-prong plug-in. This is like the updated style, what you would use now. It's got the harness on it, so we'll keep this. Throw away. This is actually a piece of the bed I'll keep because I know where that goes. I don't know why they cut it out. This, trash, trash, trash. This is my oil fill tube for the front of the engine, which is not on there, which I need. This is bolts for something. I don't recognize it though. These are like bumper bolts because they have like a welded tab on them. This is 4K governor spring kit. Keep that. This is a ignition switch, lock cylinder. Keep that. This is something diesel care parts, but I don't know what that is. I've never seen that on one of these Cummins. I'll keep it, but I don't know what it is. It's a fire extinguisher that probably doesn't work. These tarps, these things come apart in a million pieces when they're about 6 months old. We'll throw that away. We got a mirror, which we can use if we have glue. We got a box. This is one of the reservoirs. This is the washer fluid reservoir for the rad. Keep this. Can you imagine if I found that check ball in here? I'd buy a lottery ticket. I would stop filming and go buy a lottery ticket right now, actually. More trash. Here's an intercooler tube boot. Here's our valve cover. Look at that. We're gonna need that. Or it's our valve cover, I should say. I already know somebody in the comments, there's 6 individual valve covers. That's not a valve cover. It's the cover for the valve cover. Yeah, all right, I get it. Yeah, I think this truck has sit more than 3 years, which is what I was told, because the tires are from 2013, and I think Dad showed me the registration on the back of the tag was 16, so I think it's been sitting longer than 3 years open, which isn't good for a diesel, but look at this. See that? See how easy that plastic breaks? That, from heat, that's what does that. That's why it's so brittle. If it was just a couple of years, it wouldn't break that easy. So it's been off the road for a good 10 years. Now, dude, the interior isn't bad. Like, the seats aren't bad, the carpet's not bad, the dash, that's the secret weapon, because if you know second gens, they're notorious for the dashes just busting in a million pieces. They're always gone, and this one is actually, it's got one crack in it, but that's nothing. Usually it's just holes, like big giant holes, so it's nice to have that dash in decent shape. Gonna want to be careful with that thing. Okay, fast forward to next week, and we have our TorqueTech P7100 adjustable overflow valve. So from the factory, these weren't adjustable, they were just set at a certain pressure. This one has an adjustable bolt at the top where you can adjust the pressure. They make them like this because guys that are doing these pumps for performance, they'll adjust the pressure higher, you know, if they're wanting big power and stuff. These are set at the factory pressure, which is like 20 or 25 PSI, I think. No, maybe it's 32. I'm gonna tell you why people don't work on diesels a lot on YouTube. There's some guys that do, but most guys don't work on diesels. And you know why? Because this was $68. Yeah, because I couldn't find a 30-cent, or maybe even less, check ball. I had to give $68 for this to complete our little setup here. And forget about a P-pump. If you need a P-pump, those are like, this is about $700 to $1,200. If you're in a bind and you need one, just this, you're either gonna find a complete engine for $300 to $3,500, real dollars, or if you want a P-pump, it's $700 to $1,200. Like, yeah, that's the going rate. If you get one for less than $600, consider yourself lucky, actually. They'll tell you it works, but you still have to put it on the truck and see, and it's not like R&Ring a carburetor. This is way, way more difficult. Also, just an interesting tidbit of information. What I've heard about these overflow valves, the factory ones, is that it's like the only weak point, quote unquote, on a P pump. P pumps, even if you talk to rebuilders, they'll say these are some of the best pumps ever made. They're the most durable, which is true. And I don't even know if I would consider this part of the injection pump itself, really. But what happens is that ball, the surface that the ball rides on, you know, because that ball's doing this all the time, that surface wears out, and then it lessens the pressure that it takes for diesel to go past it. And what that results in is like a really weak idle, like it's barely staying alive, you know, like no power, really weak idle. And that's what the overflow valve is messing up. So this Torque Tech valve is like specially designed, like this guy like specially designed these to be super durable and adjustable. It's like the fix for the overflow valve issue. I personally have never had a problem with the overflow valve. I don't know, but I guess some guys have. The engine is timed, right? The pump is timed. We can go ahead and try and set this greasy pig back on the truck, which is going to take a while, so I'll time lapse it. So I'm going to be doing a lot of grunting and possibly saying some words. So we're making some really good headway today. The injection pump is now on. It is bolted to the timing cover. The oil fill tube is on. The Torque Tech overflow valve is on and tight. The oil feed line is on and tight. The fuel feed is on here. We got it going back to the fuel filter housing, new fuel filter. The banjo bolts are all tight on the fuel filter housing with new bonded washers on those. The throttle linkage bolts to the side of the injection pump, and that's all on and in working order. The air fuel control boost reference line is bolted to the back of the AFC housing on the injection pump. I took the timing pin out of here and reversed it to where it is not locked with the injection pump, because if you have that plastic tool faced inwards, you turn the engine over, you'll break it in the pump, and then you have major issues. The injection pump gear nut is on and torqued, all 144 foot-pounds. What we have to do now is bolt all the injection lines back onto the pump, get everything sewed up, all the little knick-knack stuff, put the intake horn on, and we should be able to start it here within a few hours. We're getting really close to being able to try and crank this and see if it'll fire up. What we should be able to do now is loosen up the main fuel feed on the injection pump where it goes into the pump, and pump the lift pump manually until we get fuel coming out of there going to the injection pump. I got my hand down here on the button on the lift pump, which you can manually operate it that way instead of using your battery to crank it over and make the arm go against the cam. So here's the main fuel feed, and I'm going to just keep pressing it till I see fuel coming out of there. It should take it quite a few pumps because it's got to fill up the fuel filter. It's empty. All right, we're getting a steady stream now. You can see it. We can tighten that up. And now we know we have fuel going inside the pump. Got a left blinker. We got a dinger in here. Oh man, it's already starting. The left blinker's on, but the right arrow is on in here. And the blinker's not even on. Off, left, off, right. It blinks no matter what. Great. Door locks are trying to work. No windows. Power mirrors work though. Headlights are on, I can see that outside. If you take the key out, dinger stops. We got lights. So when I turn the key off, back on, see we got oil pressure, check engine, airbag, wait to start, that all goes on and off. Cassette player ain't happy. Let's see if we got. All right, got a radio. Cool. Cigarette lighter. Yeah, I felt it on my face. It's nice and hot. These cup holders are always broken. Yeah. Yeah. It's a big problem with these second gens. The cup holders never work. You know that people sell these units for, I don't know, expensive because they never work. Horn. Nice. I mean, seems kind of underpowered for the truck you're in, but it works. That's pretty cool. It's with, oh, the dome lights work. Not really happy about those electrical problems because I don't like chasing down wiring in Dodges. Yeah, I'm gonna just take the blinker out. All right, I'm gonna try and crank it. I'm just trying to double check in my head that there's nothing stopping this engine from turning. The barring tool is out of the transmission. The lock time tool is out of the pump. There shouldn't be anything stopping us from giving it a try. Nothing. Of course. So the key won't crank the engine even with the transmission and neutral, clutch in, all that. So we're just gonna try and hot wire it. I got the other lead on the solenoid on the starter. See if we touch this, if we get any action. There we go. I was gonna say, is this friggin' engine locked up? Let's tighten this negative down some. I think it's got a bad connection. I think these connectors suck. That's much better. Much better. Well, at least now if we're up here we can see if it starts getting fuel. Not yet. Red hot. I cleaned the positive now. See if the crank is better. I saw some. Oh, here, here, first 3. Oh, and the 6th. Yeah. Yes, I love it. So I just took a little break to let the starter cool down. I remembered I didn't add water to it. I did check the oil. We're to the safe mark, which is good enough to run it real quick. It took 2 gallons of antifreeze, and it could have used a little bit more. Do you know Dollar Tree has half and half, 50-50 mix coolant for $5. I bought a bunch of them, so I don't know if they're still running that deal, but that was a good deal. Let's go ahead and start closing some of these up. Close 3. Well, we have good and bad news. Good news, it runs. Bad news, it tried to run away from us. These are not like gas engines where it can't kill itself. If that injection pump is stuck inside, the engine will kill itself, literally. It tried to. If I didn't have this, it would have blown up. Watch, I'm gonna hit it all the way up, like full throttle, and then go down. Up, down. See how there's no throttle response? Up, down. It's all the way down. See how it's like slowly doing what I want it to? It's not responsive. already be down. Oh, so it's the next day now, and I want to start this up again because I'm not quite wanting to give up on the injection pump yet. Some good and some bad. It runs good, like it's got compression, valves are working, all that good business. So we couldn't have ran it that long yesterday if it didn't have oil pressure, so I'm pretty sure it's got oil pressure. I didn't actually look at the gauge inside to see. I was too busy trying not to let the engine kill itself. A couple things I did. I took the fuel filter off and dumped it and filled it with tranny fluid. I didn't do it at the first, but maybe the tranny fluid will knock something loose in there. Tranny fluid's kind of like a lubricant kind of deal. I did replace a plug up here. So this plug is wrong. See that Allen key plug right there? I took that off another truck I have and put it in there. I don't know. That's the air fuel control housing. I don't know if it's losing boost pressure through there or something, and you know, if you have no boost pressure, it may have something to do with the throttle response. I doubt it, but I put a correct plug in it just to eliminate that being an issue. And two other potential problems I see. So we're kind of underneath the injection pump right now. See this wire right here, how it's cut? This is the tamper-proof wire that goes across this plug. Inside this plug is where your governor springs are. So he cut that wire to undo that plug to get in there. And you have to take this fuel shutoff arm off in order to get that plug out because it's in the way. And if you notice, this plug, see how there's no resistance? When you push this down, it should shut the engine off. This is the mechanical shutoff. This is on, this is off. See how there's no resistance? See how it just free floats and then it hits something? Then you can push it down. I can audibly hear something in the injection pump moving. With the one on the truck we're working on, it's just doing this. There's no resistance. It's not moving anything in the pump to shut it off. I don't know if there's something bent in there or broke or something not put together correctly. Nah, it's still trying to do it. And the fuel shutoff ain't working. It's a big no-no. So I don't want to give up on the injection pump just quite yet. So I have to take some of the engine apart here, the intake horn and the injection lines off, because I want to get to the AFC housing, which is where the rack is. You can see the rack from the air fuel control housing if you take it off. But there's like a tamper-proof screw you gotta cut to cut a slot in it, because you know, from the factory they don't want you in here, but you gotta get in here, man. You gotta do it. And what I'm taking off right here is the fuel plate. It stops the air fuel control arm from moving too far forward in one direction. It's just a little metal piece. So this is the AFC housing, air fuel control. Okay, so we're gonna put this off to the side. Let me get a light. We're looking down into the injection pump, and right now I'm operating the throttle. See that? Going back and forth with the arm there. And that spring is pushing against this block, but that block is connected to the rack. See that spring down in there? There's like a metal piece. That's the rack. That should be going back and forth, and it's not. I called the gentleman who rebuilds my injection pumps in Phoenix. I told him my issue. Hey, it's got a runaway condition, no throttle response. I can't shut the pump off. What's going on? And he asked if it hasn't ran in a long time. I said, yes, it has not. He said, one of the plungers can be stuck, and it can, if the plunger is stuck, it can cause the rack not to move back and forth. And I noticed that even when I ran it, cylinder 5 would never bleed. If you look here, you can see wet, 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 dry, wet. This one we're not getting fuel out of because obviously for some reason it's not going up and down. It's not doing the plunger motion, and it's holding that rack up. Right here, what I'm doing with my finger is I'm operating the manual fuel shutoff. I took the arm off. So when you move this back, it should shut the fuel off. You can see the arm it hits the rack and it should move it back. This rack should be moving back and forth, and it ain't. And at first, it wouldn't budge at all. See when I pry it back, how it's moving? If I go this way, it's just gummy. That should move if you just breathe on it. See that going back and forth? That's the rack. That's your fueling. Less fuel, more fuel. So I'm going to try something here. I put everything back together, injection lines, intake horn, tightened everything up, but I did not put the AFC housing back on. You can still run the engine without that AFC housing on there. So I'm going to bleed the injection lines again, and I'm going to run it, and I'm going to manually operate that rack back and forth and see if I can loosen it up. So which one?
This one. Hold on. Might want to put the charger on it.
That's number 5. It's getting fuel now. That's the first time I've had that. Yes, you're getting fuel out of it. Yeah. Anything, is it working on its own? We're charging, our temperature's coming up, we're at about 150, 160. Tach is working, it's reading correct. We got 40 pounds of oil pressure, and I'm assuming fuel gauge works. If that's close to empty, that's fine, because that gas in there is kind of old anyway, so just enough for us to run this thing and work out the kinks. So I'm almost 100% positive we fixed the problem. This is the mechanical shut off, and remember how like it was just free balling and when it would just stop? Well, it's not because something was bent, I was wrong. It was because obviously the rack was stuck. So now that is what you should feel. Now it's working. It's touching the rack, and when you push it down, it's shutting the fuel off. So we can go ahead and reassemble all this. Now that we know we have a viable engine, which I'm very happy about, we can do an oil change and a filter change. And I usually keep a lot of 1540 in stock. I do a lot of diesels, so we're gonna need a whole case of this and a filter, which I also keep a lot of 12 valve filters in stock because, again, I drive a first gen. I'm always working on these, always buying them, selling them, so I just keep a case of filters around. What in the heck? And I put 1540 in pretty much everything. All the old cars, just 1540. People think it's some special oil you put in old cars. We just use 1540 in everything. Yeah, it's just dark oil. I don't see any water or anything else, which is a good sign. Did an oil change. Now we're going to try and address the overheating issue. Going to take the thermostat housing off and, I don't know, see what the thermostat looks like. Just start trying stuff. So I just peeled the thermostat out, and this is pretty nasty stuff. So good thing we did this. We'll clean this out and get the surfaces all nice. I got a thermostat and gasket ordered into O'Reilly's. Look at that nice soup. And it's going to be in a few hours. Then we'll be able to put it back together. And then it should cool, because the temperature was creeping up and up and up. And I'm sure, look at that. It's not very nice. I have a thermostat on order from O'Reilly right now. And in the meantime, I've been trying to figure out why the truck won't start when you operate the key into the run position. So I've been checking the neutral safety switch. On an automatic, the neutral safety switch I think is in the transmission. It's just an electrical switch. But the manual neutral safety switches are different, obviously because it's a manual. And the neutral safety switch is on the pedal. It's on the arm inside the truck. So I have the probe of my test light in the connector. I have it unplugged. I actually have the neutral safety switch out. And when you hit the key switch, you can see that it is sending power down to the neutral safety switch, but power is obviously not getting out. So the light shouldn't be on, but there's a piece in here on a spring that you can move back and forth. And when this moves back and forth, it's acting like it's on the truck. So when you press the clutch in, this piece moves back. There we go. See, when it moves it has to go all the way though. When it goes all the way to the back, it makes connection and completes the circuit, and that's just power out. When we're hitting the pedal, something is not going all the way forward. There's not enough travel or something. I thought the contacts might be dirty, and they kind of do, but it is completing the circuit, so I don't know what the problem is. You see it compressing that spring in there? That plastic piece rides on that rod. All right, so I have the key in the run position as if I'm trying to start it. Yeah, see, there it is. Key in the crank position. Oh, okay, so it has to be like to the floor. I have to press it like real hard. Fuel control housing on the injection pump is on and tight. The thermostat is on and tight, radiator hose on, it's full of water. Let's start this thing and run it for a good long while, see if the pump tries to stick at all, and we'll see if the temperature regulates itself, which it should now. Now we know that we have to push the clutch literally into the carpet. Look at that, man, that's a Cummins right there. Hear how it started just lickety split? That means there's no air in the lines and that it's not draining back to the tank, because sometimes if there is a crack in a hose, or if not everything is tight, it'll run that day, but you'll go to start it days later like I just did, and it won't run because it's leaking fuel out, something is going on, and it's getting air in the line after you've bled it. So we're not getting that. So it's good, everything's nice and tight, sealed. Listen to that. That throttle response is what you want to hear. Perfect. That's perfect, guys. I am so happy right now that that injection pump was good. Exactly what I want to hear. Yes. That was a successful surgery, yes. It's been running for a while and I'm not really seeing any cycling action. And the temperature is definitely creeping up above 190, so that's not good. Something's plugged up. It's either the radiator or the block, and what I saw in that thermostat housing, the block probably looks the same. So we're gonna have to address that, because that is definitely not good. But in other words, I got the fuel shutoff solenoid on. So now you can turn the truck off and on from being inside the truck. You don't have to manually shut it off at the pump anymore. Oops.
Song of the day and when to listen for your chance to win 4 2-day, 1 park per day Disneyland.
Alright, and just like that, we are back from the tire shop with our quasi-new tires. These are a good set of used tires. These are from 2022. On top of having that one tire that was shredded, we had a spare tire on the truck, and the set that was on here was mismatched, and they were like 10 years old. They were dry rotted. It just isn't going to work. So these ones are from, I think, yeah, 2022. They still have pretty good tread left. They're only 3 years old. They're not dry rotted. They're totally good enough to put on this truck. In order to resell, and you could still get another 3 years out of them. So for 250 bucks, no, actually it was 250 for the tires, and 3 of the valve stems were bad, which were $10 a piece. So it was 280, which is better than 550 or 600 for a new set. Not too shabby, huh? We got some Open Country Toyo A31. Good enough for me. Yeah, it just really, in my opinion, brings the value of a truck up tremendously when you have a matching set of rims, matching set of tires, all the hubcaps on it. It's just makes the truck look better, more sellable. So we have to get to the bottom of this overheating problem on this truck before we can move on. I mean, it's not even drivable like that. So there's a couple things that we have to think about. So we already put a new thermostat in it, and that did not solve the problem. No matter how hot it gets, I don't see it cycling in here. I don't see water moving from side to side. I know it's full, so we have a couple issues that could be going on. Either the water pump is totally rotted off inside and not moving any water. We could have a radiator completely plugged. We could have a block completely plugged. Something is stopping the water from cycling. When I did drain the coolant out, I did notice there was a lot of sediment in the coolant. So I am kind of leaning more towards plugged or plugged. If the block is plugged, that's annoying. That's a very annoying problem to have because the freeze plugs in this thing are not really that easy to change out. So I don't know, let's just start taking things apart and see what we come up with. I mean, I'll take the water pump off and see what that looks like, and we can kind of see a little bit in the block and see how bad it looks. so I have the entire cooling system unhooked. I got both radiator hoses off, thermostat out. I got the water pump off. So the water pump is obviously not our problem. It's turning, the fins are good in the water pump. So we still haven't found the blockage yet. What I'm going to do is hold my hand over the bottom of the radiator, fill the radiator up, and if it comes out all fast, you know, here, fill it up from that side.
All right. Filling up?
Yeah, it's filling up. Yeah, it's
Here.
pretty much full. I can see the water in it.
Oh.
So the radiator is full. Okay, it's up to the top. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's coming out as fast as you can put it in it. If the radiator was plugged, it would fill up that side of the tank before, and it would just trickle out here. So I don't think the rad's plugged. It's that block. Got the thermostat housing back on with no thermostat. Yeah. Starting to see some water come out of the water pump hole.
That water should be moving unless there's a great big old huge air bubble in the block.
Well, let's put the water pump back on and see if it comes out here. Water pump put back on. Now we're putting water through the block, see if it comes out this little hose. There we go.
Coming out?
Yeah. Yeah, it's coming out now.
But if you hook that thing up and start it now, I bet that water circulates. I'd still run that cat pit stuff through it, even if it does circulate.
Got the hoses hooked up, got it running now. No thermostat. No thermostat. It's cycling. We could have had an air bubble. So our buddy gave us some of this cooling system cleaner for Caterpillar. I'm going to dump some of this in there.
How long does it say to run it?
90 minutes.
That's a long time. Stuff sure is pretty. Because it's made by cat.
I'd like to be able to put fuel in it, but the way he's got this routed is nothing. And then there's this with a fuel cap on it. So like I said, this had a utility bed on it. So this is for the utility bed. So we got to get this unhooked and hook these hoses to the correct neck. Okay, old gas filler neck out, new one in. I put a new vent tube hose on this one because the old one was so hard I couldn't even bend it, it was kinking. This hose actually is a little bit big for this neck, but I just wrenched on that clamp and I think we got it. We need to take this to a gas station and put some fuel in it. I always get hate for that. It's not gas, it's fuel. And I think the gauge works, but we need to put some Freshie in it because it's still got that old stuff. Shift's good. I don't hear any noises. Yeah, I mean, it's runs good, shift's good, feels good. I don't hear any noises out of the transmission. Let's see if we got fifth. Yeah, we got fifth. Fuel gauge went to empty and the light's on. I think something must be loose because it was reading. Then it just went to E, like something got disconnected. Brakes work. Just pulled into the joint. Flip 20 bucks in it. Get some of that fresh fuel mixed in there. E-brake work? Yeah, e-brake works. All right, we're fueling her up. I don't see anything coming out of the hose, so yeah, that was good. That was a good fix. So I'm on the highway. I wanted to see what gears it had, make sure it ran all right. So we're in overdrive, and we're almost at 2,000 RPMs, doing 50, a little over 50. So, where are they? This thing's got 410s or 411s. I can't remember what they had in these trucks. It was either 410s or 411s, but definitely towing gears, no doubt about that. So we're gonna get this cooling system knocked out once and for all. I got my new 50/50 Prestone mix here. I drained the coolant, the water out that had that cooling system cleaner from Caterpillar in it, so the system is totally drained. I knocked a little hole in the thermostat to help with possible air bubbles. So we'll take the thermostat housing off, put the thermostat in, close that up. We will put the lower radiator hose back on, and then we'll fill it up with antifreeze, and this should knock it out. I mean, it should do it. Okay, it's full to the brim, radiator cap is on, everything's tight. Let's go ahead and start her up, see if we overheat. All right, we'll have to give it a minute. I've been running it for a while now, having it sit here, and it's not even reading on the temp gauge, which is good. So it's keeping cool, real cool. I'm pretty confident we have it knocked. I ran the truck for quite a long time and the temperature did not try to creep up at all. So I'm gonna say we have the cooling system fixed. So it's time to move on from the mechanical end of things because we have brakes, we have engine, we have cooling, we have stoppage, goage, transmission's good. So we're gonna move to the electrical problems, which I'm not looking forward to. It's not my strong suit. It's just not, I don't like electrical. Most of that's going on back here. So since they switched it from a utility bed to a regular bed, they don't have any of the back lit up, and it wouldn't be so difficult, but everything under here just looks, you know, you're gonna have to trace things and find things and what does what. So this bed, the tailgate won't shut because the camper is too far back. See how it could go a little bit more. I actually put the camper shell on Facebook for like 75 bucks. I'd just like to get rid of it. Sometimes camper shells are cool, but in reality, they detract from the value of a truck. They just don't look good. They look better without camper shells. I think more people, when you see a picture of it, you like them better without camper shells than with campers. And then we have the receiver hitch right here. I actually have a couple. There's one here and one here. And then we have the bumper. So we'll get the receiver hitch on, we'll get the bumper on, and then we'll figure out this wiring mess. There we go. That's pretty far forward. No, this thing. I know. I see. There. It was still too far back anyway, but so I've been doing a little bit of investigating under here. Found a few things. I did see that it had airbags over here for towing, but I never saw. Sometimes they'll have like a air pressure gauge and a switch in the cab, and they'll have like a external mounted compressor to where you can hit the button and air the bags up and down from the cab. But they just have these little air lines ran right here with Schrader valves, because it's very manual. I'm sure they would have these mounted like right here, and then you would have to put air in them manually instead of having it like, you know, with a compressor with a gauge and a button inside. So yeah, it's kind of like, okay, airbags are cool, but really to make them worthwhile, you need to put a switch inside. That really makes things better. But anyway, back to the lights. So this is the loom going to the light housing. And then this one goes to the one on the passenger side, and if you follow them, and then this is the end. So it's not connected to anything. But the loom coming from the truck is cut right here. So we have to get that loom and this loom to connect. I already do have power coming from the truck to the end of the loom, so if we could get these two connected, I'm sure we'll have lights. Before I connected these permanently, I just took some of the insulation off and twisted them together, matched up the colors, and we'll see if that is our problem. There it is. Brakes. Left signal. Alright. Alright, we'll do right signal. Look at that. We got it. So I got these new like solder connectors, and I bought a new heat gun. I actually didn't even own a heat gun. So we'll solder connect those because it's nice and weatherproof. Brakes. And reverse lights. So the only other light on the truck that wasn't working was this one, and I thought maybe the bulb might be burnt. So I took the housing out, and actually the light was shoved in the fender. So I pulled it out and it's working. But when you go to try and twist it in, see how it's got these grooves right here? The housing twists in. The plastic, you can see right there and right there, the tongs that hold it in are busted. That's why it was in the fender. So let's see if we can rob one off of the parts truck out there. That's toast. Oh man, no! Dang it! I didn't remember that being broke. So one of the last things I'd like to do to this truck, if I can fix it, so there's no handle right here, and then the windows, this one works. This one does not work for the driver, and that's actually the most important. And then this does operate. It doesn't really seem to want to. Maybe we can use this and then this cover right here. Maybe we can switch the switch out, see if it changes anything. To me, it's little things like this, like the arm handle and the little cover that goes on the switches, that makes a difference. You know, it's really like eye candy. You know, when you see that stuff missing, you assume that the rest of the truck's junk, but that little complete stuff helps. So I put the new window switch in off of the other truck, and still the same thing. So I pulled the cap off of the back of this, and this wire is constant power because I'm not hitting any of the switches. And then I think this is ground. And then if you operate the passenger window, this is down. I can hear the window working. When you go up, it doesn't light because that's this one, right? Up, down, power. And then these two are the drivers. Oh, so this is down, up. So the switch is working, sending power out, but either the motor's disconnected down in the door or it's bad. So either way, we gotta take this door panel off, see what's going on in there. No good. A lot of online forums and videos will tell you got to take the window regulator out to change your motor. That's not true. If you take the speaker out, you can get to the bolts on the electric motor, and you can undo 2 of the bolts on the regulator and push it out of the way and pull the motor out. I pulled the motor out and I plugged it back in. It's working. I don't know why it's not working in the truck. Maybe it's... But I can tell, see how it spins fast this way? And then hard. The grease is probably hard in there. But also this window could actually be stuck, you know? Like, I don't know. There's a worm gear in here that turns a big cog. Maybe we can... But see, if you rotate it this way, it's almost like it's got bad connection. So I'm going to hold the button. See how... That's weird. What in the world? Okay, so here it turns fast, slow, fast, slow. If it's slow, stop, start, stop. I don't know, it could be like a bad connection in here too. Let's see if we can re-grease this or something. What's up? Let's see the baby. Emily's been taking the baby for walks.
Yes.
Oh, look at her. She's funny when she does that.
Her reflexes.
She'll like do her reflexes, but her arms will go like, ugh.
Yeah.
Puts her arms up when she gets a little shocked. Hey. Little Nova Lee. Yeah, she's so cute.
Yeah. We had a good walk. It's nice. It wasn't too hot.
Yeah, you guys had a good walk?
Yeah.
Cameo from the baby.
Mm-hmm.
A cameo appearance. Okay. Back to the window regulator situation. Grease is like not that hard. I took this off, I put some new grease in the shaft and on the back of this, and I took this wheel out and I cleaned the old grease out, put some grease in there, and maybe it'll work a little better now. So we kind of just did all that maybe for nothing, because if you listen to it, like, listen to this thing. Well, see, now it isn't working. So I'm going to hold the button, turn it. Now it starts working. Then hear how it gets hard. It like almost stops. If you let off and try it again, it doesn't work. There's some internal connection in here that's not good. Something in the motor. So this is not gonna work. So I have a parts door that he gave me with this truck, and I took the motor out of it. Okay, hear how positive it sounds, how fast it is. When you turn it, it doesn't change how fast it's going. So we're just gonna put this one in it and be done with whatever's going on with that thing. Okay, we need to eradicate this already. Usually I like to try and fix everything I can. Even sometimes that means taking things apart that were never made to be taken apart and serviced, like those electric motors. Like if I can save something, I try to. But yeah, no, this was not the case. So put the motor in, put the speaker back on, we'll put the door panel back on, and we should have a working window regulator motor. And voila, just like that, we have a driver window that goes up and down. And that's the most important window. I mean, you're the one using it. So another thing I want to do is fill this hole right here, and this is where the license plate goes, but the plastic is missing. Okay, now we got a spot for a license plate. Alright, let's take this thing on one more good test drive. I checked the differential and the transmission, which I haven't even done yet, and the differential was good. Yeah, but the transmission was 1.5 quarts low, and it's kind of tough finding gear oil for the transmission because it takes like this GL4 application, and if you actually look at all the bottles in the store, they all say GL5. I guess GL4 isn't offered anymore or something. So finally did find some GL4/GL5 synthetic stuff at a parts house here. I also want to see if this thing is not overheating. Good oil pressure, it's charging. All the gauges work except the fuel gauge does what it wants. Been driving it for a while. Temperature, let me see if I can get you focused on there. The temperature's coming up, but it's definitely not trying to creep like it was. We'll see if it stays there though. Alright, so I've been driving it for like 20 minutes now. It's sitting here idling. I was just taking some pictures of the truck, and the temperature is still good. You can see it doesn't want to focus between the steering wheel and the gauges, but anyway, temperature's good. I'm gonna say we have that eradicated. I love these trucks, man. especially these NV4500s. They're expensive though. Holy criminy! If an NV4500 by itself is like, I see people wanting what, $1,500, something like that, $2,000 for an NV4500. I saw a guy with one of these engines for sale on Facebook literally a day or two ago. Just the engine. Like, he cranked it up and showed that it ran like on the ground. But again, just the engine, no transmission. He wants $4,600. What in the world is going on with the values of these things? It's crazy. It's crazy to think that a small block or even a big block Chevy to this day you can get for under $1,000, and one of these engines is worth $3,000. Just shows you how in demand they are. I mean, really, friggin' wow. One last thing I would like to try to do before I put the truck up for sale is see if we can get the air conditioner to work. Sometimes they set and they leak out, so maybe we put a couple cans in it and get lucky and it'll work. Twist the can up in the gauge. See, it's low. I got the air conditioner on in the truck. The compressor's not cycling and we got like 10 pounds. So if we put this in there, the compressor should start to cycle. Yep. It'll do it. There it goes. It'll cycle off and on real fast, and then it'll cycle slower, which means it's getting close to being full. It's not full yet. Right now the air coming out of the vents is about 100 degrees. It's kind of cool how AC systems work. It's all pressures, it's not temperatures, it all works on pressures. So it's got basically a sensor. When the pressure gets too high, boom, it kicks on. And when the pressure gets too low, it kicks off. It's watch. Bam. So 50 is where it turns on, 15 is where it shuts off. Because what it's thinking is okay, I brought it down to temperature, 15 PSI. That's a low pressure, a low temperature. But the system doesn't know that it's low. So those intervals should get further and further apart as I put it in. Trying to shake it up just to agitate the atoms, get it to go in. That's why I got that can on the engine, so it heats up. The more hot it is, the higher the pressure in the can, and it goes in faster. Yeah, I can feel the lines getting cold. The factory charge is 2 pounds, so that's 32 ounces. This is 12 ounces, 12, 24. In theory, it should take 3 cans, more or less, if it's truly empty, but it had 10 pounds PSI in it, so I'll take a couple of cans, maybe. Yeah, this can's about done. I don't hear anything. When you shake it, you'll feel the fluid, it's liquid. Because it's under pressure, it's a liquid. You'll feel it moving around in there. I don't feel anything. Yep. Alright, so the gauge is reading pretty steady at 40. See how the compressor's staying on and it's not shutting off? Yeah, it's pushing about 65, 70 degree air. The green right here is like, now that's how you know you got the AC dialed. Is like if it's blowing in the 40 degree zone, that is cold, baby. That's where you want to be, but it's really hard to get it down to there. Right now it is exactly 90 degrees, and at 90 degrees ambient, they say a full system should be at 45 to 55 PSI. And right now, we got about 52. So it's a little high, but it's because it's so hot here. I mean, anywhere else, this would be good, but the ambient's kind of high, so the low side's going to be a little higher than average. Right now, we're pulling about 55 degrees. I'm going to say that the system is full. So I got the RPMs up and we're almost at 50 degrees exactly. So if the ambient is 90 and we're 50 in the cab, that's a 40 degree split between ambient and what's in the truck, and that's pretty good, I'd say. So I'm gonna call the system full, and I'm gonna call that good. And if we were going down the road, it may even pull it down into the green if you're lucky. Oh look, it's going down still. I got it up to like, let's bump it up. 1500 RPMs. Yeah, we're coming down, baby. Oh yeah, if you were going down the road, you'd be at 40 friggin' degrees. Look at that, man. Like a charm. That's 48, 49 degrees right there. I'm calling that good. That's a win, baby. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I'm extremely happy with how the truck turned out. You guys know I love these 12 valves. I really do. I have a long history with them. You know, I was buying and selling them way before YouTube. So I don't usually come across deals on 12 valves a lot anymore. I mean, people want, $9,000, $10,000 and up for true beaters. I mean, like project trucks I see for like $8,000. It's like, nah, can't do that. But like I said, $3,500 was a good deal for a truck that needed some work. For, you know, you're taking a risk. I mean, but it paid off good. You know, we were able to save the injection pump without having to send it off to be rebuilt. I almost marked the injection pump off. I mean, I was like really down in the dumps about it, but getting that rack unstuck was seriously key to getting this truck put back on the road. We fixed the tappet cover leak, so no more oil leak. Injection pump working lickety split. We got all the rear lights figured out. We got tail lights, we got brake lights, we got signals, we got reverse lights. We even have like a license plate light going on back there. Everything is good back there. Radio did work, but now it doesn't. All the gauges work. It's a totally drivable, usable truck, and now the air conditioner works, which is awesome. Oil change, fluids are good. It's new tires, brakes work. It's a good truck. It's a good work truck. You can put it back on the road right now. That's exactly that was my goal. And getting the air conditioner working, man, that's just like an extra cherry on top for a selling point. That's the biggest thing people want out here in Arizona. Is the first question is, does the air conditioner work? Air conditioner work? So now that I can market it and say the air conditioner works, man, that's just helping me out. So I'm gonna ask $7,500 for the truck. If any of you guys are interested, you feel free to email me. I've had subscribers buy vehicles. I'm glad when it happens, you know. I get comments all the time. People ask, if you ever sell one of those trucks, let me know. Well, I'm letting you know right now. But either way, I'm going to put it on Marketplace. That's how I do it anyway. So I'm going to keep you guys updated on the t-shirt situation with the two designs, the Travis B and the International and the Cummins, going to be on a shirt like this. Good for working outside. They really are. I've come to really like these shirts. And then I guess I'll call it a uniform shirt. The TB on the front and then the big TB and the pinstriping on the back, that's going to be on the button up. So keep on the lookout for that there. Either way, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed all the fixes and all the little things to do to get this thing straightened out. And like always, I'll see you very shortly in the next one.